The only thing that we're interested in is putting money in your wallet. If you want to bet the fights, if you want to have a little bit of action, you are in the right place. With my partner, Ian Parker, I am Brett Okamoto.
We're ready to rock between our parlays, our props, our straight picks. It's time to make money. Let's go.
The UFC hits the apex in Las Vegas for the first time in 1 month. That sounds weird to say. It feels like we're there every weekend, but the UFC has been on the road as of late, but it is back home in Las Vegas, and it is at the apex with a lightweight main event between Rafael Fiziev and Mateusz Gamrot. And of course, we are here to tell you how to make a little bit of money there at the apex in Las Vegas this weekend. Hello, everybody. I am Brett Okamoto alongside Ian Parker. We are going to be breaking down every single fight on this UFC Fight Night, giving you all the picks, giving you the parlays, giving you the long shot props, everything that you have come to expect from the show. We got you. But before we look at Saturday, let's look back at UFC Noche, and I will let Mr. Parker take it away and tell us how we did. Go ahead.
Brett, not one of the best nights. Mike Bell didn't make it any easier for us. Valentina Shevchenko, where she should have won that fight, was a push, and that would have been our prop of the night had she won by decision at plus 160. We lost a split decision with Kevin Holland. Padilla Nelson over 1.5. That was the easy one. Godinez Reed over 2.5. Loopy looked unbelievable in that fight. She got to finish. And Jasmine Jasdavicius as an underdog. We lost in the money line. The 29-28 I can live with. The 30-27. Don't love that one. We did hit our parlay as the bright spot, but as in gambling, there's ups and downs. 2 hot weeks, 2 weeks. Let's get the bounce back this week. We're back home at the Apex.
Yeah, I mean, we were one scorecard away from having a pretty good week, though, because you had Valentina Shevchenko by decision. That would have been nice to hit at plus 160. But we will move on to UFC Fight Night this weekend. You can find it exclusively on ESPN+. It starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. I already mentioned the main event, lightweight bout. It's a competitive one, minus 155 for Fiziev, plus 130 for Gamrot, so we'll be talking about that one at length. Bryce Mitchell is back for the first time in 2023. He's taking on Dan Ige. And then a few more fights to round out the card. Of course, we will be talking about all of these, as always, giving picks for them, as always. And also, as always, we will start with the main event at 155 pounds. You have Rafael Fiziev, minus 155. You know, he came into that fight against Justin Gaethje hot. Wins over RDA, Brad Riddell, Renato Moicano. All of that led up to a minus 245 favorite. And then he lost as a minus 245 favorite. So this is his first appearance since that fight. Gamrot, he lost as a minus 240 favorite against Dariush, but then he won against a plus 210 underdog against Zarukian. So a little bit of a mixed history from both of these guys, especially recently. What do you make of this line?
You know what? The line is a little tricky for me. I guess they're going based on level of competition, losing to Gaethje as opposed to Gamrot coming off that Jalen Turner win. You know, I understand Gaethje now, number 2 spot. And listen, Fiziev did have round 1 on Justin Gaethje. But Brett, what confuses me about this line is that Fiziev is not, in my opinion, I mean, listen, against RDA, he looked really good. But in this fight against Justin Gaethje, he started to gas a little bit in the middle of round 2, which is where I think Gaethje took over. And Gaethje, although he did get his takedown, he didn't even have to use his wrestling. He's fighting someone in Gamrot who, man, this guy goes at a pace, endless cardio, unbelievable with the chain wrestling. I mean, that scramble, the amount of wrestling with Arman Saruki was insane. But when you look at someone like Fiziev, what do we know him for? His Muay Thai, good defensive takedowns, good hips, good striking. His speed is sensational, and we know he has knockout power. The question is, can he keep up the pace for 5 rounds, clinching, defending, and be able to throw the strikes the way he did against Gaethje? Because against Justin Gaethje, he was not able to do it, and that's why I think Gaethje was able to take over with striking of all things, which was a little surprising to me. Gamrot, also against Jalen Turner, took that on short notice. So for me in this fight, Brett, I'm going to go over 3.5 rounds. Okay, I think this fight, we're going to see this go pretty deep into this fight. Gamrot, both guys extremely durable, hard to put away. I don't even know if either one of them been put away in their careers. I'm going over 3.5. I think it's a pretty safe play. And I will say this, I think Gamrot is potentially a live dog here if it goes into rounds 4 and 5.
Well, there you go. Maybe, maybe this might be a situation where you watch the first round. Maybe Gamrot is a little bit slower on the entries, maybe just taking his time, being a little cautious of that power that Fiziev carries. And then maybe that line could take up. I think that moving forward in MMA betting, in-play betting is going to be a situation in which you can kind of maybe take some advantages and you can have some strategies in fights, in particular with these. And also don't forget that this small cage for this main event, which I would think would benefit Gamrot, but we will see. Fiziev obviously very, very impressive up until that loss to Justin Gaethje. Let's move on to the 145-pound division. Bryce Mitchell taking on Dan Ige. Bryce Mitchell fighting for the first time in 2023. He is minus 210, taking on Dan Ige, who comes back at plus 175. Dan Ige has a pretty established track record at this point. His losses have come to the cream of the crop. You got Calvin Kattar, guys like Josh Emmett, Mosar Evloev was most recent. Is Bryce Mitchell in that category? I think if you believe he is, then this line is appropriate. If you do not believe he is, then maybe you got to pick on Dan Ige here.
You know what? I don't think Bryce Mitchell is there yet. I mean, look, he looked fantastic against Edson Barbosa, and it was the striking that was surprising to people. We knew if he got the fight to the floor, he'd be able to control it. The fight against Ilia Topuria, he keeps talking about how sick he was, all this stuff, but you still took the fight, and nobody goes into these fights 100%. The question is here, can Bryce Mitchell get Dan Ige to the floor and keep him there? I think Dan Ige is going to be the physically stronger guy. I think he's going to be very aggressive. I think he's the better striker here. And I'm surprised off that type of loss and the 2 wins in a row for Ige that the line is this far apart. I think a lot of people are looking to take Bryce Mitchell by decision. So if you do go that way, I understand that. But I think Ige is a live dog. If he can keep this fight standing, he is the better striker. He carries more power. I like how he goes to the body. And I think the way we saw Bryce Mitchell kind of quit in that last fight against Topuria. You know, first time he saw adversity and he did not respond well. I think this fight overall, though, Brett, goes the distance. I think right now it's sitting at minus 200. Both guys durable for the most part. I don't see Ige taking Mitchell down and throwing him in a choke. So safer play to the distance. But for me, picking a side, I like Ige's value as the underdog here.
Okay, so maybe you take Ian's safer play at minus 200, and if you're feeling froggy, you do a little bit of Dan Ige by decision, because I got to believe that prop would pay out pretty well. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of this main card. The first fight we're going to talk about, we actually have seen, is Marina Rodriguez taking on Michelle Waterson Gomez. That fight happened back in 2021. It was a 5-round fight. Rodriguez taking the 5-round decision. She comes back as a pretty clear favorite here, minus 320. What do you think of this rematch from 2021?
I feel like we're going to watch the same fight again. For Michelle Waterson Gomez, look, she's been around for a long time, pioneer. She's been fighting in a weight class she probably shouldn't even be fighting. She, coming from the atom weight outside the organization. I think she's in trouble here, Brett. I think this fight's going to stay standing. Marina Rodriguez is on a little bit of a streak, but we still know how good she is in the striking department. Good takedown defense. Let's go Marina Rodriguez by decision.
All right, and then moving on to Brian Battle, who has made some noise, particularly recently in his last fight, taking on AJ Fletcher, who comes back at a plus 160 underdog. What do we think here?
You know what? I think AJ Fletcher is live here. In the losses he's had, he's lost by decision. So betting-wise, plus 3.5 points means he needs to win 1 round on all 3 scorecards, lose 29-28 across the board. I think he can do that here. We've seen Battle being taken down and held down. I think both guys are on the up and up. Even if Battle wins, I think it's going to be a hard-fought decision. Let's go Fletcher plus 3.5 points here.
And I'll tell you what, this is a pretty entertaining main card in my opinion, and that includes Ricardo Ramos taking on Charles Jourdain, who it seems like is never in a boring fight. And you're picking Charles Jourdain. How come?
I am. You know what? I think Jourdain showed us against Kron Gracie that when it comes to jiu-jitsu, he's gotten better. He can definitely handle himself against guys in the grappling department. Striking-wise, I think he's better than Ramos. We know Ramos likes to throw those spinning elbows, but I think Jourdain has matured. Also, as the fight goes on, Jourdain gets better. Ramos gets worse. Give me Charles Jourdain here.
All right, so we're taking Charles Jourdain at minus 140, but we also have a prop of the night around this fight on the main card. Where are we going for the prop of the night on Saturday?
I'm going to take a shot here at Charles Jourdain to win by decision at plus 210. Ramos is a guy that has been finished before, and Jourdain has done a great job striking. However, if the fight ends up on the floor, Ramos is not getting finished. And on top of that, I think Jourdain knows how important this win is. He's not going to force anything because Ramos does throw unpredictable strikes. Tends to happen when he's leading the dance a little bit. Jourdain's sometimes a counter striker in those positions. I think it's very important for him to get the win and not force the finish. And at over 2-1 odds, let's go Jourdain by decision here.
Okay, so plenty of picks already on the books. And like I said, I kind of like this main card, man. Charles Jourdain, I really enjoy watching him fight. Brian Battle has had some big moments in the UFC. AJ Fletcher, I think that's a live fight. Bryce Mitchell, Dan Ige. I'm liking this main card, but we also have some prelims to talk about. You can find them on ESPN Plus, and as always, I will let you run through your prelim picks for Saturday. Take it away.
Let me get Dan Argueta over Miles Johns. Argueta in that last fight, he got a win stolen from him over Ronnie Lawrence, who's a very good wrestler. Johns just has not found his rhythm yet. I like Argueta here to get it done. Tim Means, Andre Fialho, do not blink. Brett, you talk about this being a sneaky good card. The fact that this is on the prelims on an Apex card, this fight's not going past 2.5 rounds. Jacob Malkoun versus Cody Brundage. Malkoun has not got a finish yet in the UFC. He does so on this card inside the distance at plus 110. I'm going with Kamaru Usman's brother, Muhammad Usman, here. He has shown more poise, more maturity, better cardio as it goes on. And we're going to have him over Jake Collier. Now, to go back real quick with Jacob Malkoun, he's also going to be my long shot prop of the night by second round TKO at plus 800. Get plus odds and 2 different bets on him. Why not? Let's go. Back to the prelims. Mizuki over Goldie. If you're going to take that fight, I would take her to win by decision. She's been out for a while, but more skilled. And we're going to go Vidal over Rendon. Vidal coming off a fabulous knockout win in the first round with a knee to the liver. I think she can do it again here, and that wraps up our prelims.
All right, let's keep it moving with Parker's parlay, which did hit last week. What are we hitting this week for the parlay?
You know what? Last week we did hit. That one was very comfortable. I think this one's going to be the same here. We're going to go Marina Rodriguez to get a repeat win over Michelle Waterson Gomez. Means Fialho. If you liked under 2.5, you're going to love that this doesn't go the distance. Someone's going to sleep in that fight. And Jacob Malkoun, I think he's getting this done in 3. Cody Brundage does not have good cardio. If he cannot control the wrestling or land an early shot, he tends to fade and get finished. Malkoun has a suffering pace and can get on top and get the TKO, plus 124. Let's get that 3-legger this week.
A nice, easy, comfortable parlay. That sounds good to me. How about the best bets?
I hope these are as easy and comfortable because I'd really like to piggyback that parlay here with a nice win. Give me Fiziev Gamrot over 3.5 rounds. Rodriguez by decision at minus 165. I don't usually love doing the props there, Brett, but I don't see Gomez getting finished. Rodriguez, same thing as last time by decision. AJ Fletcher by 3.5 points. So our viewers are not confused. If Fletcher wins this fight inside the distance or outright, we hit, and as long as he wins one round on all 3 scorecards, we also get the win there at minus 120. We're going to go Charles Jourdain on the money line, Dan Argueta on the money line, and Muhammad Usman to beat Jake Collier. All 6 fights. Let's go.
Okay, so there are your best bets, 6 of them for Saturday, and as always, we bring you the long shot parlay of the week. What do we got?
I think all 3 of these dogs are live here. I think this one, it might be the closest one we hit. Well, we've gotten to our last leg multiple times before. If you do that, please hedge. Give me Gamrot, Ige, and Fletcher, all at plus 1544 to 1 to get it done here. 3 live dogs. We don't have to make it pretty. Just got to get the win. Let's try to hit that long shot for the first time this year.
Okay, a lot of action for you there on Saturday. You can find the UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific for the main card, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific for the prelims. That is usually where I would wrap up the show. However, Dana White made some announcements last night about a co-main event and a main event coming up for the end of this year. So real quickly, we're going to hit on those. Ian Parker, we're going to see a light heavyweight fight between Yuri Prochazka and Alex Pereira in New York. Great fight. Cannot wait for that. We do not have a betting line for it officially. What is your guess to what is the betting line for this 205-pound title fight?
Man, you know what? Yuri's been out for a while. Pereira with some momentum over the Jan Blachowicz win. This is tough. I mean, you might get a minus 110 on each side. You might get Pereira minus 130, or you might even get Yuri in that regard because of his finish win over Glover Teixeira. You know what, Brett? Either which way, I don't think this fight's going to go 3 rounds, let alone 5 rounds. So I know we said that between Yuri and Glover. This is a little bit different here. 2 monster strikers who carry tremendous power. No one's going to wrestle in this fight. This is going to be like Rock'em Sock'em robots with better technical skills. Someone's going to sleep here.
Okay, so I got to admit, you're taking a little bit of a safe route there, that they might be about minus 110 either way. I'm going to take a little bit of a stronger position. I think odds makers love Yuri Prochazka. I'm going to go with Yuri minus 175, Alex plus 155. I actually think the oddsmakers like Prohaska so much that the layoff won't matter, and he will be I wouldn't even say significant favorite, but a noticeable favorite there in his first fight back after never losing the championship himself. They also announced a main event for the December card, the last pay-per-view of the year. It's Leon Edwards taking on Colby Covington. We do have a line, official line on that one from Caesars. It opens Leon Edwards minus 105, Colby Covington 115. Is that correct? I actually thought that Edwards was minus 115. I had written that down wrong. I would have expected Edwards to be a small favorite. What do you think of that line, Ian?
Well, I'm very interested to you with this pen and paper. I don't think I've ever seen you do that before, so you must be very confident. But I agree with you. I thought Leon Edwards was going to be the favorite here. I guess the odd makers just think that Colby Covington's going to be able to do what Kamaru Usman couldn't do, and that's wrestle and hold him down for 5 rounds. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Leon Edwards has showed us he can go 5 rounds. In that first one with Usman. The second one was not the same Kamaru Usman. The first one, though, with everything, the pace, they were at higher elevation. And Colby has not fought in a very long time. I think those odds should be flip-flopped there. I think Leon should even be a bigger favorite than what Colby is currently right now.
All right, good stuff. And the only reason I wrote it down is in case you said the exact same thing. I wanted to show that, like, hey, I'm not just following you on your coattails, but you went the safe route, which might end up being the correct one. And we could see about an even line between these two, but I think that they're going to make Yuri the favorite. We shall see, and we will revisit it when that line does come out. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you stuck around for all of us with the picks, the prelims, the parlays, everything else for this fight night, and then a little bit of talk here about the pay-per-views. We will be at both of those in person, so stay tuned for those cards. And enjoy the fights this weekend. I think it's kind of a sleeper card there at the Apex. I will enjoy it. I hope you do too. And I hope we win some money. We'll see you next time.